Welcome back to Out in Alaska's Robbie one more time. And in this video, I'm going to go over what it was like living in this cabin for week one. We're going to take a trip down to Denali National Park, and we're going to talk about what the plans are moving forward for the camper, as well as the cabin, and then address some of my more frequently asked questions in the comment sections. So don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button. Welcome back, and thank you for joining Out in Alaska. In October, I made one of the biggest decisions of my life. I quit my job, packed up everything, and left Houston, Texas, for a remote, off-grid life in interior Alaska. It's just me and my dog Gage, and the wide open wilderness now. This is a journey about learning to live simply, embracing challenges, and finding myself in one of the most rugged and beautiful places on earth. Welcome to my adventure. I'm one step closer to the life I've always dreamed. Welcome back, friends. So picking up from where we left off, I picked up the camper down in Kenai, and I got a phone call from a coworker of mine whose truck was giving him some issues. So I waited around for a little bit longer to follow him and his family back up the road because his transmission was slipping. So I didn't get back until really, really late that evening. On the way back up the road that evening, the wind picked up quite tremendously. It caught a hold of the propane tank holding door and blew that off somewhere within a 30-mile trip. We had pulled over to let his transmission cool down. Then we pulled into a gas station about 30 miles later, and it was gone in between that area. So it made it almost home. I didn't get back home until really, really late. I stayed the night, and in the morning I had to go to the cabin, of course, to get my coat. So it's Monday, September 1st, it's Labor Day, and I am packing out, headed to the camper for the week. I do have to come back on Wednesday to get some things from the cabin. However, of course, I did not bring a coat and that good stuff, so I have some tools, some gas cans, so I can bring back fuel and gas for the generator over the weekend, and that part. But I did want to show you when coming back across this afternoon, the creek had rose about 5 foot, and that had caused the water to come all the way out. So I'm just going to show you on the way back that from standing right in front of me, all the way up is nothing but water due to the creek, which now looks like a lake. So I have to strip down. Sorry about that. I have to strip down, take off my boots and my shirt, and actually swim across the middle of it. It's about maybe 5 feet that you can't stand. The rest I can stand up. So here we go. We're going to make that trek back to the truck, get these items loaded into the camper for the week, put the heater up that I have, and go from there. So I sped this section up, and I apologize for the bumpiness of the ride along with me here. I did not bring my gimbal because I've learned that a lot of things get dropped into the water and destroyed. That's what happened to my microphones at some point. I guess they got wet. But as we go down through here, this is all normally dry. This is usually a completely dry pathway, but the creek has risen up that much. And as you can see, my boots are completely covered. It is up to my knee at this point. And so as I traverse down through this knee-deep water with mud on the bottom, I'm trying to manipulate the camera. But now it's time to take a swim. So we made it across. But boy, that water is cold. Whew. Takes the wind out of you. That's why I have the camper. Hi. It's never been this bad, but whew, I'm glad I have it now. I don't know how some folks can record some of this stuff. They must not be alone like me. And I still have that to go, which used to be all dry trail. But I'm like 25 yards from the truck. Just got to catch my breath. Yeah, so there we go. I'll put my boots back on and get out. I also have to be cautious walking across it because It's like the glacial silt that you can sink easily 3-4 feet if you walk in the wrong spots. Fortunately, when I was researching the land out here last year, I came through the area and took a look at it. So you have to be cautious too when you're walking due to the glacial silt. That mud, glacial mud, will cause you to sink easily 4 feet. I've sunk about 3 feet one time. Fortunately, when I came out last year, this time I learned where a lot of those spots are that is very, very deep. But we're gonna keep our boots off right now because it doesn't make any sense to have them on. And we're gonna go ahead and make our way. So all of this right here where the grass is used to be dry land. And as you can see, the creek has risen up so far that it's covered over all the land, and it's actually gone deep into the woods over there. So all of this used to be, I'll try to attach a picture of before crossing over the creek and to show you what it looks like at different times in different seasons. But it's quite crazy how much has changed since I left on Thursday when Gage and I came out to what it is on Monday. Because if you think this water is cold now, it's gonna be crazy cold at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning when I would leave. So thank you, Mama. I don't have to go through this on Monday morning and freeze my patuta off. So we're gonna make our way up here. And there's a patch in the woods that's a lot drier up in front of us. And I'll get up there and put my shirt back on because you don't wanna stay cold very long though. It's not crazy bad. You can catch hypothermia and 50 degrees in the water. It's probably about 55 today. And you can definitely tell the water's getting much colder. Whew. Yeah. All right, so we did that trip. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the boots on. And I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. Sliding my feet in the boots here. You can't see that very well at all. All you saw was my fat stomach. These boots suck at putting on when they're wet. All right, so boots are back on and we're gonna make the pull to the truck. Whew, I have this sled around my belt loop and it doesn't like that very much. It's easy going across the water, but not so much on dry ground. So yes, I have this connected onto my belt loop right now. Can you see it? It's very easy to float across water. I tie it there when I swim. However, it's not that nice when it's not floating. I typically have it strapped to my backpack strap and I pull it that way. But as I stated, this is the home stretch. I don't have much now. As Grandma would say, this is shouting distance. Whew, it almost flipped over on me on a log. We don't want that. And after I eat dinner, I have a few items to take care of. Coming back up the road, I actually lost the door off of here for the propane tank. So I have to take the propane tanks off every day to get back to whenever I move it. So I have a piece of sheet metal. Unfortunately, this is Alaska, so I had to order the piece to hold it back. But until then, I have some brackets I'm gonna put in here to hold the propane canisters still traveling down the road. And so I have some temporary brackets that I'm gonna put in there, but I ordered those, so they should be in here soon. I also have to cut this door open from the inside because the key is seized up and I can't get a key in it. I can't turn it. So I'm gonna cut the latch on the inside, and I have another lock that I'm gonna put on that, place on that. So that'll be tonight's the projects for this evening. And then I turn around and go to work tomorrow. So good. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done. I just want to take a few minutes to issue some thank yous to some amazing people. You know, I had people ask for me to put up a Cashapp and for me to put up a Venmo, and never in a million years did I think that my life or what I was doing would matter in that realm of anything. I'm so grateful, and I just want to issue the sincerest appreciation and thank you. First to Abby J and her husband. The blessings you bestowed upon me are beyond measure, beyond words, and I really appreciate it. Also to J. Anthony F., thank you very much. To Lindsay 8651, Priscilla Richardson 7612, to Chris, to Tara Lee, to Roberta I, to Constance F, to Ian Y. And then also, funny enough, I was in the Walmart on Friday after leaving work on my way back home, and I ran into Eric. So I wanted to give a thank you, Eric, for recognizing me and talking and stopping by to say hey. As well as I went to Lowe's next to get some parts, and I ran into Jason, who actually recognized my voice because I was on the phone with, nonetheless, my mother. So, Jason, thank you, and I just thank you all for following along on this journey. Again, I don't find my life to be that interesting. It just is my life. I wanted to document it for my family, which is on the East Coast, and I began this YouTube journey. Thank you so very much. I'm looking forward to growing more, following along, and I just want to thank you all. So we're going to start with some of the upgrades I did for the RV. So right now I did place an order for a diesel heater. However, the diesel heaters up here, the one that they had in stock, I did not want. I wanted one that was a little smaller, that I could mount and exhaust out in not the self-contained box. Unfortunately, shipping to Alaska is kind of cumbersome, and we don't have everything up here. So for the time being, I have this Mr. Heater propane heater, which doesn't need to be vented. I dedicated a propane line especially for that, and if Gage moves out of the way, you'll be able to see it running down here. It runs out to the tank, and that heater is infrared, and it makes it feel like a wood stove in here. So that comes on, and we'll see if you can see. He's gonna sit right in front of it, sucking up the heat. And these tiles here will turn red. It's already warm in here, doesn't need to come on. I just turned it up, and if you can see, they are turning red, and they emit quite a bit of heat. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that down because it's not necessary right now. So I have that heater on, and the cool part about this heater is it takes zero electricity. So I need zero electricity to run it, so I don't have to worry about if I have enough power to maintain heat if it does get super cold. The next thing I did was wire in my EcoFlow power box, so I can just plug directly in and it will charge that box, so I can run completely and totally off grid. I ran those cords through the wall to the exterior into the plug, and so I plug in and it charges me up. We come around to the exterior of the RV, and there's the generator and those cords that I was talking about, how I plug those in temporarily. I will get those put back in. My Starlink comes down out of the window as of right now. It is my home Starlink, so I don't have the roam, so I can't keep that mounted full time. And then you'll see the propane door that I made to get that all hooked up. So we're all ready for the road. Let's get ready to view the mountains and the beauty that is Denali National Park. So in heading out, it was rather cloudy to begin with. However, the clouds didn't last long, but the view was still amazing. Going through the gulch and viewing the water, the Nenana River running alongside of the park's highway was just beautiful. But then as soon as I got into the park, where we parked nearby, the sun just shined so brightly, and it was absolutely beautiful. So I took a lot of footage of Gage and our hiking and all of those things. I'm just going to share with you some of that as we go through our trip here in Denali. You ready? Huh? We got our teeth brush, a face wash, and my coating of lotion to protect from the wind. It is rather chilly outside today and a little windy. I haven't looked at actually the temperature. It is 49 degrees outside, and the wind keeps barreling and making everything whistle and whine today, so it is rather windy. So I got on the sweatshirt, and we're going to load up and head up to Denali. So let's have some fun today. So we entered Denali National Park and Preserve, and we headed up the road there. And it was beautiful from the entrance of the gate all the way up. Again, I took a lot of pictures, videos. I will put those together probably in a later video once I'm able to actually go through them all. I probably took thousands of pictures and hundreds of video footage that I need to go through, but I'm just sharing some of them with you now. This is driving through. You're able to drive about 15 miles up the Denali Road without a commercial escort. We did get out and hike through and walked up, and there right in the middle distance you can see Denali or Mount McKinley. Got back on, we drove around after doing some hiking, and many places on the road you find people pulled over looking at wildlife. Here we are on our hike. And again, I did not take my gimbal with me, which I will not make the mistake again. So I really apologize for the bumpiness of it. I was walking Gage and later found out that pets were not allowed off the road. So I brought him back to the truck, took some more pictures, and we continued. We did see a bull moose off the road. He was right off the road, just grazing around. There were about 15 people taking pictures and looking at him. His antlers were crazy. We're zoomed in quite a bit there to see that. It was just amazing to see him like that. We got back in the truck and headed up the road, and there in the woods we saw another bull moose. It's funny how well they can camouflage directly off the road. And if you look right there at the bottom, you'll see how well he just camouflaged, and you couldn't even see him. So going into some of the more frequently asked questions, the number one question I was asked was about Gage and what's going to happen to Gage when I stay in the camper during the week for work. Well, here you go. Gage is with me all the time, and he'll be with me in the camper. Gage also lived with me on a semi-truck when he was about a year old to 2.5 years old. So he lived in a space literally half this size for about 1.5 years of his life. The number two question is about my guns, about the 9mm not being enough. I do not focus on my gun solely on this channel. I have a 9mm and a 10mm. I usually carry my 10mm on me. I do have several rifles and shotguns, but I do not focus solely on my firearms on this channel. I did grow up shooting competition trap, so I have been around guns my entire life. I was a national treasure for a trap shooting association, so I am a good shot, and have shot majority of my life. But again, I don't feature just my weapons on the channel. Let's say the third thing people were talking about was me moving away for the winter. I'm not moving away for the winter, and I'm sorry if I misspoke that in the last video. I will be staying in the camper during the work week. I am not giving up my cabin. I'm not leaving Alaska. I am staying in this during the work week. I had another job that I was in process for, which was going to give me the opportunity to stay very, very close to where I live for work. However, that didn't pan out. So then we took a pivot to stay in the camper, and that will allow me to save a lot of money, not waste that on back and forth to work, and to be able to accomplish a lot of the goals over the winter, buying things, and over the springtime, getting them installed. The fourth thing, which everyone talked about, was planning. Oh, you should have planned. Oh, it's your own fault, this and that, and so forth and so on. I'm going to say this. When it comes to negative energy, I have learned to silence those voices, because if I don't, I begin to believe them. And that's not something I want to live my life with. So I welcome all comments. When it is abundantly negative, it's but so much I can care, to be honest with you. We're always going to have pessimists, and it is great to listen to both sides of a debate. I do planning and I do all of that. But at the end of the day, I make a decision and I go with it. And regardless of how much we plan for things in life, things always come and step in the way. Plans always change. But that's who I am. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of looking into it. And then from there, I pulled the plug and I came out here and I did that. The next question I was asked a lot was about my mechanical and or all of those abilities to do things. I'll tell you this, I grew up the eldest of 5 in a single parent household. And at the time, a lot of the things that needed to be done or needed to be fixed, my mom would inquire of us to do. And as a young teen and preteen, I didn't have the knowledge to be able to do those things, but there was a need to get them done. And so the need exceeded my knowledge. So I gained the knowledge and began to do a lot of those things. So as an early preteen, I was fixing just about anything that needed to get fixed, building things that needed to be built, and doing that. So I came with those skills ingrained in me. I just have had them. And then the wind got so loud that I couldn't hear any of it. You couldn't hear me, and it was pointless to continue to talk. It's been extremely windy out here, but for me and Gage, I want to say thank you for following along with Out in Alaska. I really appreciate you. Remember to keep silencing negativity. If you don't, it'll stick with you, it'll lay with you, and after a while, you'll begin to believe them. Images convey thoughts that affect behavior. Thank you so much, friends. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, and look forward to more next week with Out in Alaska.